So let's get started with calibrating our system so that our Cantaris system is actually measuring the decibel levels, the sound levels, the same as a decibel meter would do. Now you can also find this in the Cantaris user guide when you visit the website and you scroll all the way down. At the bottom right you find Cantaris user guide, and when you click it you can look for the calibration part. So that's right here under equipment and calibration, calibrating dB levels. When you click it, you're going to do the exact same steps that we're going to do right now. So you can read this all back in the website. So in order to calibrate, you first need to log in with the account that you made. And then you're going to click Options and Audio and Calibration Settings. You will have probably added already an equipment setup in the equipment bar right here. When you haven't done that, click Add to add your microphone to this list. When you have already done that, you have selected that already, and you click the button Calibrate. Okay, so now we're going to start the calibration process, and it's a three-step process. So the first step is to make sure that your computer is receiving the audio signals from this microphone. Now, when you click Start Meter, and the little blue bar is going to move right here, the movement of it is going to reflect the amount of sound, the total sound level that the system is receiving. Now we want this to do two things. When we make very loud voice, we don't want it to clip. So when I would do a loud sound like ah, ah, then it shouldn't clip, right? So clipping would mean that the blue bar reaches all the way to the right, and after this little word clip, it would say yes. So we don't want it to clip. Now when it clips, what you should do is you should turn your audio interface, the input level, a little bit down. Now we also want the very soft voice to be still recognized, and the soft voice should be really distinguishable from the background noise. So that would be like making a very soft voice, and the blue bar should still move a little bit. So that's a good thing. When you've reached that setup with your audio interface, you just leave it there. Because when you're going to change that setup, you will change the calibration. So after you've done that, you click Next. This is the second part of the calibration process, and for this you will need a decibel meter. Now, any decibel meter that was calibrated itself will do this trick, and most decibel meters have a choice between either dBA or dBC measurement. Now, I'm not going to delve into the specifics behind that, but what we want is dBC. So no dBA level, because with that you cannot reliably calibrate the system, and you will know that. So when you've done that and it would not have gone right, then you will know that. So put your decibel meter to dBC, put it to fast if there's a speed dial on it, like fast or slow. So dBC and fast, and we don't want it to show the peaks, we just want it to show the amount of decibels that is currently being produced in the room. Now, you will need to read the decibels from this meter. So most of the times we use a second person or a colleague for this. So someone is going to hold the decibel meter at the same distance from the mouth as the microphone. So when you have a standing microphone in the room and someone is going to speak towards the microphone, you want to have this decibel meter at the same distance from the mouth. Now, I'm going to show this calibration as a way of testing, because when you're going to make sound, someone needs to read that. So I'm going to make it up a little. Let me show you what I mean. You're going to record a sound. So you're going to record a 2.5 second vocalization. And that is going to have a certain decibel level according to Cantaris. Now the decibel meter will have a mind of its own, and that's the right one. So whatever the decibel meter said, we're going to put that in here and then save that trial. And we're going to do that 5 times, preferably at 5 different loudness levels. So let me start off with a normal loudness level. Let's do it like this. Okay, so you can see that Cantaris thought it was 52.4 decibels. Let's assume that that was 62.4. Now, an exact 10 decibel difference will probably not be the case in your system, but it's for the sake of this, for this example. So you fill that in and you click Save Trial, and it is collected here at the trials. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but a little bit softer. And let's assume that that was 58.99 decibels. Again, a 10 decibel difference in our case. And a little bit softer again. All right. So after these 3 trials, we're going to make some louder vocalization. Before you make louder vocalization, double check your decibel meters, because some decibel meters have specific windows in which they measure dB levels. So if the window is cut off at 70 decibels, you should change that window up a bit, like 60 to 90 or 50 to 100, whatever yours is saying. So when you don't have such a window, just keep recording and see how it goes. You can always do this again. So let's do louder. All right, let's assume that was 67.13. And at last, the 5th one, very loud, but still quite stable, of course. 78.8, let's say. Now we've saved these 5 trials. When you've done that, click Next. Okay. Now, this is the last step of calibration. The status is approved, and approved means the next thing. When Cantaris wants to calculate its own value to be the one that the decibel meter would have set, the true decibel meter, then it would say 0.999 times my own measurement plus 10. And that is exactly right, because now for the sake of this let's say this trial, I added 10 decibels to every measurement. So Cantaris found out that if it takes its own measurement and adds 10, then it'll be exactly like this meter said. Now, of course, when you're really going to calibrate in your own profession, then what's going to happen is you're going to see slightly different changes, and the slope might be a little bit more or a little bit less than 1, and the intercept might even go up to 40 decibels or 6 or whatever. So what these numbers are telling you isn't really how reliable the difference was, but what is going to tell you this is the mean absolute error, which is 0.01 decibel, so that's really low. You want this to be lower than 1 decibel. So when your mean absolute error is below 1 decibel, you've calibrated correctly. So that's why status is approved. What if you don't reach that below 1 decibel threshold and it's bigger than 1 decibel? Well, things that you can look out for is, have I really selected the right microphone? Have I read my decibel meter right? Has my colleague read the decibel meter right? Because the sounds are a little bit finicky and they change a lot. So have I saw the mean as it was? And also, did I make sure that my room is quite silent? So a lot of background noise is going to disturb this process a little bit. And you can just do it again. Now, if you've done this all several times with a colleague and things are not working out, just reach out to us and we can give you some more advice in this calibration process. Now, at last, for this example, I'm wearing a headset microphone. So at this moment, I'm measuring quite close to the mouth. The norms or the normative data that I'm comparing my clients to was all recorded on a 30 centimeter from the mouth distance. So I want to compare with that. So in my case, I want to enable distance recalculation, put 8 centimeters, that is roughly this size, into this field right here, and put the recalculation distance to 30. So that's what I'm going to do with my headset. Now, what if you're measuring with a microphone at 15 centimeters from the mouth, approximately? Then you might want to enable this, put 15 here and put 30 here. What if you're measuring from 30 centimeters from the mouth? You don't even enable this function at all. Now click Save to Settings and then Close. And right now you can see that this equipment was calibrated today, and in about a year from now Cantaris is going to remind me that I need to calibrate again. So click Save. Now if you have calibrated correctly, let me add a person right here with my date of birth. If you have calibrated and you record the normal speaking voice and someone has a fairly in your ear normal speaking voice, and you're going to record it and someone is speaking just a little bit or reading a text aloud a little bit, and you stop the recording, then you should see that the normal speaking median in decibels should be around 60 decibels. So that is around, let's say, a mean. Now, older people and more women than men tend to speak a little bit softer than that, and younger people, a little bit more men than women, tend to go above that 60 or maybe 70 decibel point when you measure at 30 centimeters. Now, this in this moment is not going to make a lot of sense because I made this kind of sham calibration, but that is what you'll probably see. Now, if you've calibrated right, exactly like you would, and you make this kind of measurement and it's something like 100 decibels or 35, then something went quite wrong, probably. I don't think that's gonna happen, but if it does, just reach out to us. We're quite accessible. Maybe we can fix that on distance with a video call, for example. So this is the calibration tutorial. You can read this all back, as I told you, in the user guide. And of course, you can use Cantaris without this step. You can use it without calibration. But when you've calibrated, then you unlock every kind of amazing feature that Cantaris has, because exactly every decibel that you're going to see in the screen is fully calibrated and telling you the truth. Now, of course, for pitch, that's a different story. Pitch is always measured really well without calibration. But for loudness, you would need to calibrate, I think. Best of luck with that. Just reach out whenever something wouldn't work out or happen, and let us know.